Maybe you've heard about the Super Bowl commercial for SodaStream. It's the do-it-yourself soda maker. Well, in this commercial, Scarlett Johansson strips down to a slinky dress and apologizes to Coke and Pepsi, essentially for her hotness, but I think also for the fact that this product might have a little problem with their sales, might push them down a little bit. But just the mention of the giant soft drink makers got that version of the spot yanked by Fox, the network which is going to be airing the big Super Bowl game this Sunday. That's not what we're wanting to talk to you about now, though, however. Miss Johansson has had to resign from the global charity Oxfam after that company objected to the location of one of SodaStream's factories because it is in an Israeli settlement in the West Bank. All the actress wanted to do was sell homemade soda makers, but now she finds herself right in the heart of the Middle East peace process and all of that acrimony. Well, joining me today for Q&A is Dovid Efune. He is the editor of Algemeiner newspaper. Dovid, always good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining.
The pleasure is mine, as always.
Let's just start quickly with what Oxfam had to say about this. It said Oxfam believes that businesses such as SodaStream that operate in settlements further the ongoing poverty and denial of rights of the Palestinian communities that we work to support. That is one side of this issue, Dovid, but we also have a short clip from SodaStream that presents a very different picture that I want to have you comment on. But let's just show folks at home what SodaStream has to say about just what it's doing at its factory in the West Bank.
My kids are Facebook friends with the children and some of the employees that we have at this factory. And before that, my kids did not know a single Palestinian person, and neither did the children of the Palestinian who works here. So these relationships are so important, because in the end, there'll be peace among people.
Dovid, the CEO is saying that, look, everyone gets along very well. It employs 1,000 Palestinians at very high wages for the region. How could anyone be opposed to this? What do you think about this as a means of policy for Oxfam?
Well, look, to my mind, you know, there are a lot of things to say about Scarlett Johansson, but one thing that has come to light today is that she is a warrior for truth. She has exposed two truths, two lies, and for everybody to see. The first of which is that you have an international aid organization that is taking sides in a conflict where it's supposed to be impartial and is backing the Palestinian position. And the second lie that she's exposed is that there is something inherently wrong with Jews living in the area known as Judea and Samaria and working in that area known as the West Bank. And as you see in that video, you know, the position that Oxfam is taking does not really benefit anybody.
Yeah, it seems very clear that this would harm Palestinians, it would harm Israelis, that this is the sort of peaceful economic cooperation that would strengthen ties and begin to bring about the sort of ground truth that could lead to, in the future, if this were to spiral out, the sort of situation where you might actually have a deal. On that notion of a Middle East peace process deal, which we can't assume Scarlett Johansson is going to be able to take the lead on anytime soon, Benjamin Netanyahu seems very disappointed in some statements from the Palestinian Authority recently with regard to what's going to happen with settlements in a final deal. Dovid, is this thing already screeching to a halt before it's gotten started? I mean, we know it's term 2 of a presidency. The Obama administration wants to get this done. John Kerry thinks he's going to make the magic happen. What do you think about what Netanyahu's saying about settlement final status?
Well, the first thing that's absolutely clear is that all the pressure here is artificially created. If you look at the statements made by John Kerry and the Americans and others in the Europeans, you know, the pressure on both sides, I mean, where did this deadline of April come from? I mean, everything is artificially created. They're talking about Israel becoming more isolated. They're talking about the threat of violence, but none of that is real. It's an invention of the State Department, essentially, and some other nations. What you have here, the issue that the Israelis are trying to get their head around is very simple. How do we know that if we withdraw from these areas, that will bring peace? Because every single time they've done it before, it brought more bloodshed, it brought more rocket fire, it brought more terrorism. So what the Israelis are looking for is a way to guarantee that. And so far, it's not even on the horizon.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for the peace process in this term. But back to our earlier conversation, Dovid, we both stand unabashedly and unashamedly at Scarlett Johansson's side on this issue, as we should. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
Good to see you. The president made it a point to include the income gap between men and women in Tuesday's State of the Union address. Equal pay advocates commonly say that women make 77 cents every dollar a man makes, but closer analysis tells a different story. Up next, Will Kane is going to take on the myth of the gender gap.